thanks for staying with us. This is Newsline, and I'm talking to Mr. Charles Mark, who's the chairman of the Internet Society of Hong Kong. As I said earlier, the Internet's been here for 20 years, a very, very long time. Well, to a certain extent, not really that long.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Okay, now, your conference, what's the name of your conference, by the way?
I didn't mention it. Apricot. It's not fruit, but it's actually a big, long acronym that stands for operational technology. So mainly it would be the kind of people who are actually doing the plumbing, the actual plumbing of the Internet, who are going to be attending this conference, engineers and so on, and also to an extent also other policymakers and industry people.
Okay, now I know that as a prelude to your conference, you've been doing an Internet voting campaign, and you want to narrow down the defining moments of the Internet in Hong Kong. Now that is a very large scope, the defining moments of the Internet in Hong Kong. I can tell you a defining moment of the Internet
to you
in Iran, for example, 2 years ago, was the so-called Twitter revolution, where after the elections people were not very happy, and then they communicated with each other with Twitter and so on, and then that caused people to go to the streets and protest. A similar thing happened in Egypt.
And
it's
also
happening
in Tunisia.
now. Right,
and
they use it. Those are defining moments. I don't know that there's a defining moment in Hong Kong.
Well, I think if we look back into Hong Kong history, I mean, fortunately, I have to say, we haven't seen any violent episodes of things like that. But actually, we're looking at these defining moments from two perspectives. First of all, from the development perspective. So the Internet has been developing in Hong Kong. When was the first Internet connectivity made to Hong Kong? What were some of the key technology adoption examples?
But those are historical moments.
Those are
defining moments.
Well, I mean, depending on how you look at it. I mean, to people who are really working in the industry or working with the technology, it might be defining, very important to them. On the other hand, we're also looking at many of these issues that are, in a way, changing people's perception about the Internet in Hong Kong. Things like the celebrity, sex photo, scandal.
That was a defining moment. Would you say that was a defining moment?
That was a defining moment, at least from the media point of view. I think it lasted on the front pages of most of our newspapers for the longest period of time of any news since
I did several shows on that issue right here.
Yeah.
But then I would think that there was a defining moment. It was last year.
Which one?
It was when the so-called post-80s generation used the Internet to gather together outside the Legislative Council to protest against the high-speed railway to China. Now that, I think, showed how the younger generation used the Internet to rally together, and then they created something different in Hong Kong. That must have been a defining moment.
It is one of the candidates on our list that people could vote for. Actually, you're right. That is definitely a defining moment in the sense that, of course, people are already using the Internet for social movements, for civil activities, and so on before that particular incident, and after, even today, people are just using Facebook, to a much lesser extent Twitter and other forums to express themselves, and also gathering themselves. Actually, that particular incident with the high-speed rail, that was the first time anybody made a particular hashtag, what we call a hashtag, in Twitter, in order to spread the news about the protests.
Well, you know, as the chairman of the Internet Society of Hong Kong, Mr. Mark, I know you think of the Internet, you promote it, you think of it as something positive, and I'm sure there are many, many positives of the Internet. Like I said, I don't think anybody can imagine living life nowadays without the Internet, although I do know some people who don't want to use the Internet for whatever reason.
Well,
but tell me, there are many positives of the Internet in Hong Kong. What, not only in Hong Kong, in the world, what are the negatives?
I think the negatives are the way that some people are using the Internet.
Or abusing?
Or abusing the Internet. Privacy issues, issues that has to do with infringement of copyright, intellectual property issues, also issues that definitely has to do with how we protect children on the Internet. These are actually very
That is a big issue,
These
isn't
are big
it?
issues. But then again, I mean, I have to think that we're living through a time, and history repeats itself with different technologies. When the time, first of all, back when the radio and television and even the printed press was invented, I'm sure, and I was told, or I read that people were saying that at that time, people were saying that this is the tool of the devil, and
Mr.
so on.
There's a huge difference.
Tell me the difference.
The difference is with newspapers and radio and television, the people who run the radio stations, TV stations, and media, they control what goes and not go into the newspaper or on TV or radio, whereas the internet is open for everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody can put stuff on it.
So is it good or is it bad?
I'm asking you. I don't know. You tell me.
Good. I think it's good. Actually, I think it's good in the sense that it gives us, in today's world, a good balance of power.
Was it good then that this sex scandal with Edison Chan and all those pictures appeared on the internet?
Well, actually,
where kids were able to access these photos?
That would have happened in an older age without.
Is that good?
It is only.
It would not have gone to the newspapers.
It is only. It is only more pervasive now because of the internet. But I think the solution, obviously, is not shutting down the internet, but more education, so that people are more aware about how they should be using the internet.
So you're not drawing a line.
Other people.
You're not drawing a line between what can or cannot get on the internet. You're just saying that people should be educated to not access things that are no good.
I don't want to be the one drawing the line, and I don't think any particular.
Should there be a line at all?
There might be a line, but this line would be shifting according to people's values and times and so on. I don't think it is an absolute line, and it might be different from one country.
Who draws the line?
The people.
But I thought in Hong Kong there was some move now to have some laws against certain things, right?
That actually worries a lot of people on the, in our community. For example, when we're talking about the consultation that was held 2 years ago, and it's the first phase. Actually, we're still waiting for the second phase of the obscene and indecent article ordinance, control of this obscene and indecent article ordinance. That particular ordinance, at that consultation at the time, actually the government proposed certain things that are, in our minds, pretty draconian. For example, mandatory filtering at the ISP level that actually has been just last year shot down in Australia. Things like that. These are some of the areas that we're worried that if we put too much power into the hands of government, once they are able to censor certain materials because of a very a cost such as protecting the internet that no one can dispute, very soon it might migrate to other areas, including political, ideological, and so on.
I agree with that. But what you're then telling me, Mr. Mok, is that if you draw no line, whereas what can or cannot be put on the internet, then you are sacrificing to a certain extent personal privacy in the interest of internet freedom.
I think actually we are trying to draw such a line, but I'm only saying that I don't want to be the one who is just dictating, or I don't think anybody like or the president of
Don't you think 6-year-old kids need to be protected from the pictures that were on the internet, sex photos?
So how do we develop a system to do that? Actually, in some countries, there are community-based solution to handle this problem. First of all, it would be a voluntary system that the parents and so on, the adults would adopt these protective measure, filtering tools and so on. They shouldn't be going to the level of the internet service provider because that would affect everyone, but they should be done at their own server or PC level. Also, who decides what is on the blacklist, what should be banned and what not?
That's the question, who decides?
In many countries, it is decided by a wide range of community people coming together and then formulating their standards, not by one person or the government.
Well, in China,
itself,
the government decides,
of course.
Right?
But in addition to forming the line, drawing the line, actually it's also very important to have an appeal mechanism. So for some reason, if my website got into the blacklist, I say, wait a minute.
You should be able to say why.
Should I be able to appeal?
I've got a couple of minutes left, Mr. Mok. I'll just ask you this. We talked about Hong Kong having the internet 20 years now. Tell what will the internet look like 20 years from now?
Many people are talking about the Internet of Things. So 20 years from now, probably everything, the eyeglass that we wear, I don't know whether, or it won't be looking like this anymore. Everything is probably connected to the Internet.
Is that safe? If you're driving a car and your glasses are connected to the Internet, is that safe?
I'm sure that they'll figure out a way that is safe enough to do it. But everything, including your car, for example, would be connected to the Internet. It will be intelligent. Actually, the Internet might become invisible because you're not even aware that I need to be connecting through my modem or my broadband to the Internet. It is always connected. The ubiquitous network will finally be.
Well, I was working in Seattle before coming back to Hong Kong, and I remember going to Microsoft, and Bill Gates at the time, I'm going back now maybe 8 years, was already talking about tablets and so on, and now we're seeing that happen. That was vision on the part of Bill Gates a long time ago. But now you say everything will be Internet in 20 years from now, your car, your glasses. Is that forget about whether it's safe or not, is that a good thing? Do you want to be constantly exposed to it?
That is actually a good question. I don't have my own authoritative answer on
what happens to your own life? If
your own life, your privacy, there must be a mechanism and policies in place that people can have a choice. But like it or not, technology is moving in that direction. I think humankind have to learn how to adopt and adapt to the new technology around us.
There's nothing you can do to stop that, obviously. Nobody wants to stop it.
Right.
All right. We'll end it right there. Well, think about what's going to happen to you 20 years from now. If you're around, what the Internet is going to do to you. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year. See you next week.